The Misfits.
So, my name's AJ Wilson. I'm the center for the Colorado Spartans, a new up-and-coming arena football team out here in Denver, Colorado. And it's been a joy, but as far as my testimony, kind of grew up in the church, always been around it. My great-grandfather was a pastor, my dad's a pastor, and so I just kind of always been around it, been a PK. And so growing up, there's a lot of interesting things and little nuances that I had to learn as my father and my mom built a church from the ground up, because they started Sure Foundation in 2011, I believe. Was it 2011? Maybe earlier, 2008 or something like that. But 16 years ago. It's been a long time. And so their first ministry, of course, as they'll say themselves, was me and my older sister. And so they started pouring into us from a very early age, at like, I want to say 4 or 5 years old. Things started changing and everything. They had to go through their little growth, and then when they found their faith, they started teaching us. And so for me, my faith has always been based off of having that example around. And so having that example of a father and a mom that are pursuing God, and going through the ups and the downs, the flows, everything and the like, and just seeing how that really works while they built the church out of it. And then as I got older, right around the end of high school, going into college, I really had to make my faith my own, because as everybody knows, college is a tough time. It's about growth, about becoming your own person and everything like that. While I was in college, did some little experimenting, went off the beaten path a little bit, smoked weed here and there. Never really got into drinking, but I was not doing the things that I had been taught to do growing up. And I just kind of felt out of place. And so I came back for winter break after my first semester of college and was like, I got to get back to it. So I really started reading my Bible, really started praying more, really getting into the Word. And it changed everything. I felt myself again. I started feeling like the world is back the way it should be. And I was like, okay, so my world is only centered when I'm in God. And so in order for me to be who I have to be with Him, and I have to keep Him in my heart, my mind, and my spirit at all times. And so that was the key thing leading into that second semester of college. And then it branches off real quickly, because God's given me gifts of leadership. And so I got thrown into leading a campus ministry out the blue after just being a participant for a semester. And it just, from there on, I really started building my own faith, it's come with ups and downs and challenges and things, such as like dealing with, being a college athlete, all the sex and drugs and drinking and all that, partying and all that is right in your face. And so being able to stand strong and staying in who I am and staying connected to God, so that way I can be that light to those guys that may have never really understood what a Christian looks like and things like that. And so I had to keep that all in mind, all while still trying to grow as a man. And so it was a little bit of a difficult process, but over the years I've kind of gotten used to it. It's an ever-ending process. And now I'm finally back home after playing a couple of seasons in different states of arena football, and now I'm back here in front of the hometown crowd, having a good old time. And so, it's been amazing.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are still in Season 5 of Ministry Misfits, but today we are doing something special. We are doing the first OVRadio special we've had in a while. So most people are familiar with the fact that we are fully invested and involved over at the KFM Broadcasting Network. So you may have forgotten that we're also part of the OVRadio network as well. And so because of that, we are going to be today doing a special episode where we are focusing back into more of the sports ministry world for a while. And so welcome in also those of you that are over on the CSRM podcast as well. We are going today to be talking to AJ Wilson. And we are talking to AJ because, one, I see his stuff all the time from his very proud parents, and so I was made aware very quickly. And two, because of the fact that he is a professional athlete that has a very interesting perspective for us within the local church. Grew up a pastor's kid, grew up a pastor's grandkid, did all this stuff, and now is playing professional arena football there in his hometown. And from what I've seen, doing very well with it as well. So, AJ, welcome in. We are gonna start with let's clear the air for people that are confused. Arena football, American football. Is there actually a difference? What's the difference? That way we can get this all out in the open, because I already know we have people that are just a little bit confused as to what we're actually talking about here.
Yeah, there's a kind of a big difference. So, arena football compared to your traditional thoughts of American football. American football is played outdoors. It's 11 on 11 on roughly 100 yards or 110 yards if you include the end zones of field space. Most of those fields are about 40, 50 yards wide. And so there's a lot of people, a lot of roster spots, a lot of everything. And arena is a huge difference. You shrink it down a little bit. The field itself is from end zone line to end zone line is only 50 yards. So it's half the size of a regular football field, which makes a huge difference, especially for guys that are traditionally have been playing outdoor football all their lives. So some of these guys, quarterbacks, running backs, they can cover this field in the blink of an eye. So it makes it a lot more a fast-paced kind of game, a lot more, there's not as much space to make mistakes and everything like that. And then to top it off, you have, rather than 11 on 11, it's 8-man on 8-man. There's 3 offensive linemen, you have your quarterback, and then you have a running back and 3 wide receivers. You have 3 D linemen, a middle linebacker, and the rest are DBs. And so it makes it for an interesting thing, because you're watching it and you're like, okay, it's really shrunken down. Is it just shrunken football? No, it's a totally different brand. Arena football is played inside of incredible venues. You can play it in anywhere, really. And so for us out here in Colorado, we played in the Denver Coliseum. And essentially, because the field is the size it is, it's about the same size as a regulation hockey rink. And so what they do is they take these hockey rinks, they put padded walls around the inside of the hockey rink, and they slide a turf field in there. Nice little AstroTurf, depending on where you're at. And we play football on about 25, 60 yards of gridiron inside this hockey rink kind of area. And the out-of-bounds rules are a little bit different. In regular football, you step on the line, you're out of bounds. In arena football, you catch a ball as you flip over a wall and land on some concrete. You're still good to go. That ball is still in play. And so the only thing that keeps it different and exciting is you're going to see guys flipping over walls. You're going to see guys get banged into walls. I think I've heard many a times that arena football is the child of football and hockey.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So it gets real fast-paced, real quick, real hard-hitting. Seen a couple guys flip guys over. And the thing is, because it's an arena, sometimes they pack it all the way out, and those seats are right outside the walls. And so you never know. You might see a guy get flipped over onto somebody's popcorn bucket. Now there's popcorn everywhere, and the fan is basically holding the player that they came to watch in their own lap. And so that makes it totally different and so much more exciting. The environments get a little bit louder because you're inside. So it's just rambunctious, loud, and crazy fun. So
awesome. So yeah, hopefully that will help people understand what it is we're talking about. And it's not even, and this is not a new thing, because I've also heard people that claim arena football is a new thing. It's been around for a long time. I mean, Kurt Warner came out of the Arena Football League. He
Sure
started out
did.
as arena football quarterback. So it's not like this is a new thing by any means. But it's one that is I'm surprised. I have always been surprised it has not gained the popularity it has, just because of how fast paced and in some ways unintentionally interactive it actually is. So let's get back to you for a second now, because for those within the Misfits world, and especially here on Twitch, some of you may recognize his name. This is Anthony Wilson Jr. This is the son of Ant from Kingdom on the Road. You're a pastor's kid. You're a pastor's grandkid also. This is kind of just the way it is. So walk us through what that was. What was it like growing up in that kind of environment where I guess in some ways the family business was within the church?
See that, but I think I do got to correct you on one thing. See, my great grandfather on my mom's side, and then you have my dad. So it's two
Gotcha.
different
Okay.
sides. And so what kind of happened is we would go back and visit, and my great grandfather, he's the pastor of a Church of God in Christ church in Des Moines, Iowa. So we would go back and visit every summer for the most part, and have a good time. But you know how it is, as they call it, Collegiate. You're dressed up nice attire and everything like that. That was cool and all. But then as my dad came to Christ and really understood the things that were happening, he went the more non-denominational route. So it's like, okay, now we're just on the Bible. That's it. That's all we're focused on, is what God has to say. And for me, that I was like, man, this is an interesting thing. Like, me and my sister, we're sitting in the back rooms with my mom and dad are doing counseling sessions and stuff. We're always around it. It's like, oh, this is life. And so growing up as a pastor's kid, it just, there's nothing like it. It's you get to experience firsthand what it's like to be part of the leadership of a church, part of the leadership of a ministry, but you're not prepared for it at all. You're not even thinking about it. You're not led to do it at all at that time. You're just a kid along for the ride. And so you're seeing all these struggles, all these conversations, all these things that you never thought you would have been able to see. And then one day you look up, now you're an adult, and you're like, oh, I'm being called to my own ministry stuff now. And you know how to do it, theoretically, but you still got to go out and experience it firsthand, what it's like to be the person that's actually called and not just a person watching those called. And that makes a huge difference.
So let's walk through that a little bit. What this idea of now you're the one being called. Mm-hmm. What are we dealing with here? Was this something where like you're like, I don't know about this? Is something like, oh, this is what it's like? Is this a, because anybody that has followed Misfits for a while knows I have never been shy to talk about the fact that I avoided my calling for a long time because I didn't want it. And ironically, didn't want it because I was building towards a route towards professional athletics, not towards ministry. Walk us through this a little bit. What were you kind of like open to this? Was this something where you're like, nah, this isn't me, I don't know what God's doing? Or, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, for me, early on, you're totally open to it. You're dealing with, you got to have a whole lot of discernment because there's always somebody saying a word like, oh yeah, you're going to make it professional. You're going to be big time. You're going to be like, and you're like, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how that could be a ministry in the first place, but I guess I'm just going to live life and hopefully I find out about it. And so as I went, you get those prayers and everything and those prophetic words growing up. As I hit college, for me, there wasn't really like a separation. Me playing college football in general was God picking out a spot for me, because I could have very easily just been like, my grades are good enough, my ACT, SAT scores are good enough. I can go to any college I want to and get an academic scholarship and be perfectly fine. But playing college football, it was my dream, as well as it lined up naturally with what God had for me. And so as I started experiencing what that was like, the ups and downs of being around different kinds of people that they lived a totally different life than I ever have it before. And it's like, how do I operate and not let them completely influence me away from God?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's called me basically to be a pillar to show, okay, this is what it looks like to pursue athletics as a Christian, doing it the correct way. Because there's a lot of wrong ways to do it. And there's a lot of ways you can get sidetracked doing it. And that's what I mean by wrong ways. It's just like you get distracted. You look up and you're like, oh, all of a sudden, why is this guy that was a Christian for so long got a drinking problem all of a sudden? Because he was playing college sports and stuff like that, and there's a lot of partying, and he wanted to fit into the crowd. So you have to kind of learn to stand on your own, which is a little tough at first, of course, because nobody wants to really stand out and be on your own and do your own thing. But I learned very quickly, okay, it's actually easier for me to stand on my own because I got to watch my parents develop a church and them have to be kind of set apart in the first place. But then also, I still had to deal with those emotional thoughts right up front that, hey, I do want to be like everybody else. Why can't I just be like everybody else? And so now I'm battling on the day to day. Do I do it God's way? Do I do it my way? And there are a lot of times I did it God's way. There's a lot of times I did it my way. And so as that progressed throughout the years of college, because I went to college at CSU Pueblo, and I was there for 5.5 years. I had a redshirt year and went right through COVID. So they actually canceled the Division II football season that year. So everybody got an extra year of eligibility. And so I was there for 5.5. Once I got done, I was like, it took so much toll being a college football player, dealing with the emotional stress of, hey, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was at football. Maybe I'm not meant to make it to the NFL. Maybe I'm not meant to make it to the pros, because all that stuff is hard on itself. It takes a lot out of you just to do that. It takes a lot out of you to be a best teammate and try to cheer on your guys while you're the one sitting on the bench and they're enjoying life and doing things. And then the second you walk away from football facility, you get happier because, oh, I'm with good friends. I'm talking about God. I get to hang out. I get to do all these fun things with people that care about what I genuinely care about. And I'm slowly not caring about as much about football. And then once I got done with football, and I was like, I'll give a pro day a shot because God told me this is the path I'm on. And so as I'm training for pro day, senior year, I had gotten injured, so I'm still not in the best shape. You're supposed to be in the best shape of your life going into a pro day, and I'm not. And so I'm sitting there struggling, and mentally, emotionally, I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. I hit rock bottom. I was like, I really don't want to play football anymore. It's not something that I love. It's not something that I want to do. And so I'm in the car driving, and I'm just praying about it. And God tells me directly, no, you're playing football. And I'm sitting, and I'm like, why? Why are you making me do this? And I go to pro day, have a terrible pro day. And I'm in the parking lot of, I think at the time it was a Home Depot. I'm breaking down crying. I'm like, I did terrible. It's not going to be what it's going to be. I don't know how to keep pressing on. I don't know any of this stuff. Why is he forcing me to do this? Why do I have to follow this? Why can't I just do what I want to do? I have all these thoughts and things going through my head, and I just hit a mental breakdown. First genuine mental breakdown, emotional breakdown of my entire life, because I'm a pretty emotionally balanced guy, and so I'm sitting there in a parking lot, tears in my eyes, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. But I guess God said do it, so I'm going to try my best to do it. I don't know what that's going to look like. That month after Pro Day, so Pro Day was a March 28th, 23rd, something like that, of 2022. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And me and my mom sit down, we research some EFL tryouts that are happening that you have to pay to be a part of. It's $100 a trial, and we're looking around, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be expensive, because none of them are in Colorado. They're all in Texas and California and Florida. And I was like, well, good thing is my uncle lives in Texas, so I have a place to stay. My sister lives in California. I have a place to stay. Now it's about a plane ticket. The time I had been fortunate enough to run into an agent thanks to the guys that I was training with for Pro Day. And so he footed a bill for about 2 or 3 camps as well. And so every weekend for the entire month after Pro Day, I was either in Texas or I was in California doing some kind of CFL trial, running 40s, doing broad jumps, pass protection drills in front of coaches. And once that month ended, I didn't hear a single word. Nothing. And I'm like, what am I going to do here? Like, Lord, you said that I'm supposed to be playing football. You got to make a way. You got to make a way. My agent calls me up on a random Monday on, I believe it was May 7th, May 7th or 6th. And he's like, would you be opposed to playing arena football? And I was like, or indoor football. And I was like, no, football's football at this point. And he's like, I'll call you back. And I was like, click. And I was like, what's going on? He hasn't given me no details, no nothing. I'm just like, so I call my parents. I guess I might have a chance to play indoor football, arena football. I don't know. I'm waiting for a phone call back. I get the phone call back. He lays it out. This is what the contract will be. This is what they're going to do. They're going to provide housing. They're going to give you meal vouchers to help relieve food, because you won't be getting paid a ton, because it's not like a huge lucrative business. And I'm like, okay, what do they want me to do? And then it's like, they want you to play center. And I was like, oh, I've never played. Like, I played 3 college snaps of center. That's not my position. But I guess I'll do it because I'm supposed to be playing football. And so I was like, okay. He's like, the head coach will call you tonight. They'll send over the contract, sign it, send it back. And once that's done, you'll be good to go. So I was like, okay, is the football different? I'm looking up clips, and I was like, I don't know anything about arena football. The last arena football team I saw was the Colorado Crush when I was like 7. And so I was like, let me look into this a little bit. And I'm calling around. And luckily for me, one of my high school football coaches, in his time playing football, he had bounced around from the NFL to the CFL and to the National Arena League. And so I was like, oh, let me give him a call. Called him up, went over to his house, did some practice snaps. He's giving me all types of advice. Man, it was amazing. And then after I left his house, he gave me one of his footballs that said NAL on it. The thing was, I wouldn't be playing in the NAL at that point. I'd be playing in the IFL, which is they're similar but slightly different. I go back home. I get the phone call from the coach, and he's with the Green Bay Blizzard in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I'm like, Wisconsin? Never been there. All I know is the Packers are there. That's all I know about that. Lambeau Field is there. And we're talking, boom, I signed the contract, send it back. They get me a flight out that for the next morning at 6 a.m. So I have a 6 a.m. flight from Denver to Green Bay in the morning. And I'm like, well, I guess it's kind of lucky I didn't unpack my 2-week bag from this past month. And so I go put my game system back in my bag, put a couple more clothes in there, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. Wake up early in the morning because I didn't finish signing the contract until about 11 p.m. So I got about 7 hours until I have to be on this flight heading out to Green Bay. And I'm like, okay. Parents drop me off at the airport. I catch a flight. I had a layover in Minneapolis, and then I go from Minneapolis to Green Bay, Wisconsin. I pull up and I'm like, oh, this is different. I've never seen this. Airport is incredibly small there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. Offensive line coach comes and picks me up, takes me over to the hotel. I'm like, oh, okay, this is where we'll be staying. And I was like, wait, how long is the season? The season started officially in early March, but it won't end until July. I was like, oh, this is another 3 months. And so I spent that 3 months going out there. But before that first week out there, the team had an off day on Tuesday. So they gave me all my equipment, everything I needed to know. Practice on Wednesday, got thrown right into practice. Had to take center reps on Wednesday. They came and talked to me and said, "Hey, you got the best snaps out of the guys that we got available. So we're gonna start you this weekend on Saturday for the game." I'm like, okay, I guess that's what I'm here for. And so Thursday we have a practice. Friday we hop on the bus. We're going to Bismarck, North Dakota. I'm like, I've never been to neither one of these places. What is this? And so as we're traveling to Bismarck, I look up the date after we get there. We're in the hotel for the away game, and I'm going through my social media, and I realize that Saturday was supposed to be the day that I graduated from college and walked across the stage and got my degree. And so I'm seeing all these photos of all my college teammates and friends at graduation. And the reason why I'm not at graduation is because I'm in Bismarck, North Dakota, preparing to play a game. To this day, is still one of the craziest moments of my life, quickest turnarounds. I went from being in Colorado, not knowing what to do, to by Saturday, I'm playing a game, and it was an amazing game. We beat Bismarck 59-14. It was an amazing day. And
you talked about a quick turnaround. You're ignoring the part also that you also turned around in like a 2-week time of not playing center or arena football to starting at center your first day of professional arena football. Yeah. So I mean, that's an even quicker turnaround than just like, oh, I was supposed to graduate today. Now I'm in a position in a league that I had never been in. So there's a couple of things that you highlighted there I want to hit, because I think this is an opportunity that we aren't going to have very often to be able to talk about this part of it, especially for our sports ministry audience over in the OVRadio world. COVID college students, everybody already is fully aware that was a very difficult, rough time, everything like that. But the thing that I don't think people talk about enough is how the COVID year, specifically as far as athletically, the COVID year actually impacted the athletes, the student athletes, because people assume because of what they see on ESPN that the student athletes are just, they lounge around, wait to go into practice, into game day. They don't do anything else. And because they have their teammates, everything's great and grand and everything like that. People don't realize how difficult it is, regardless of what level of college you're playing at. how difficult it is when you are talking about being on a college athletic team in terms of community. But especially when you're in a situation where everybody is isolated and the little bit of community you do have is now gone as well, and an entire year that you have been preparing for years leading up to this point is gone.
Yeah.
Walk us through a little bit first off, how you dealt with it. And then also if there was anything in terms of, because I know you already have talked about where you were kind of in this sort of just, I mean, it was second nature at this point, but kind of in this ministry mindset with teams and everything else anyway.
Mm-hmm.
How you were able to work with your teammates, work with people, how'd that year go for you?
So that year for 2019 going into 2020, and the weird part was, so we had already started spring football. Like we had already started spring training camp and everything. And as far as campus ministry wise, we were going strong. We were meeting every Thursday for our campus ministry. And we hear about the pandemic, we hear about COVID-19, and we're like, oh, okay, this is picking up momentum. So coaches are telling us to make sure you're monitoring, make sure you're not too around too many people and things like that. And so we stroll in on a Thursday morning when we're supposed to have practice, and they sit us down, and they're like, we're canceling the rest of spring ball. Everybody's like, oh. Due to the COVID-19, everything's shutting down. All athletics are coming to a halt. Everything's coming to a halt. And I'm sitting there. This is, mind you, this spring ball is a tough thing in itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's 6:00 morning workouts. You're there from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. just doing workouts. And so we're getting this news at 6:00 in the morning on a Thursday. And there's probably 70 guys packed into this team meeting room. And we're all sitting there like, oh, there's no more spring ball. The university's just cut it for this rest of the school year. There's still about a month and a half left of school. And it's like, okay, what are we going to be doing for staying in shape, staying around people? And that day, it comes out more that they're shutting down and taking away in-person classes as well. And so this is your last time in-person classes on that Thursday. I get to campus ministry. They're shutting down all extracurricular activities. So now we can't even meet on a Thursday on campus anymore. And we're sitting there and we're like, oh, this is serious. Hey, we encourage everyone to stay at home, stay away from people. And I'm sitting there as an athlete who you spend every day with the same people.
Mm-hmm.
As a ministry leader, you're always interacting with those that you're in ministry with, and it's just, okay, now you're telling me everything we've been doing for the past 2 months to start this since January is done. There's nothing we can't do anymore. And they sit us down, and we spend the rest of that time in online classes. I'm doing a kinesiology class in my bedroom on a computer, and this is supposed to be a hands-on class. After a while, you're looking up and it's like, okay, what do we do? How do we get workouts in? How do we still prepare for next season that is now in uncertainty as an athlete? You're calling your teammates like, hey, man, you know what gym's open? And maybe we can start working out outside. What can we do to get this all done? One of our strength coaches, we ended up all summer working out in his backyard. Me and like 4 or 5 other guys, we're in his backyard, and that's how we kind of grew as a team. And we're in a coach's backyard doing power cleans on the grass of his backyard. That to this, it's a weird moment. It's like, okay, we're bonding, we're growing closer together, but technically I'm not supposed to be around you. So that way none of us get sick. And we're still in uncertainty. The head coach, he doesn't know what to do, what they're going to do for the incoming freshman class, none of that stuff. So every week we're getting different information from different people.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly over time, I'm like, okay, I just got to keep going, keep chugging along. Everything's going to work out. As far as isolation for the campus ministry, for us that summer, that was the most time I got to spend with them out of all of my college years. Is all these people that I've been doing ministry with. When we start planning stuff, now we're doing Bible studies at each other's houses instead of on campus. We're hanging out more outside. We're doing Bible studies in the grass, in the yard. We're getting creative. Because it's like we have to keep going. God has told us to do something, and He's putting us in charge of it. We have to keep going. And so we're all just hanging out, spending time that way at each other's houses and stuff. And you're isolated, yeah. But for me, I got real creative and started making workout plans for everybody to do together at the track that was nearby. So that's how we started spending time together in that aspect. And it's like, okay, what do we do now? The next school year's coming up, and they hand out the tests. They're like, all right, as a student athlete, you're going to get tested for COVID weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I've never had so many Q-tips shoved up my nose.
Yeah. Something you just brought up, I found, and you don't even have to answer this. This is just something that I just kind of, I've heard you say the phrase over and over, but this is the first time that I think in the timeline I've heard you say it. Is, you're talking about the fact that the campus ministry mindset was God's told us to do something, so we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep pressing. We're going to find ways to do it that's safe, that's healthy, all that. We're going to do it because God's told us to do it. We can't just let it go.
Right.
Do you think that this time with the campus ministry guys and that mindset and everything was what prepared you to be able to deal with the process of getting to Green Bay in terms of not stopping, keep going, even though you wanted to be done, but God said to do it, so we're going to keep doing it? Do you think that your time during COVID with campus ministry was what prepared you for that? Or do you think that it was just, the process of, this is just what I do?
That's a tough one. I think it did prepare me. It gave me an inkling of how to keep going. Yeah, I've been taught to keep going, but nobody knows what it really means to keep going until you're put in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so dealing with COVID, where essentially the university put a hard stop on everything, like, hey, no, you can't meet. No matter how much you ask, you can't use these rooms, you can't use these facilities. We're trying to shut you down. And you're sitting there like, okay, how do we like, we've been entrusted with this. This is what He's given us to minister to the people on campus of CSU Pueblo. They need this even more than we need this. And so dealing with COVID in that way, we had to all sit down, and mind you, at that time, it wasn't just the campus ministry that I was over, which was called Crew.
Mm-hmm.
We had also partnered up a lot, and there was a lot of people that I knew in FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And so we partnered up together. And it was like, okay, how can we get creative about maybe doing like volleyball outside with a Bible study or something like that? Or can we come over to this person's house if they've got a house and do a Bible study, and just really getting down to that feeling of you need to be in community because he's called us to be in community. If we let everybody go off and do their own things, COVID is going to be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily in the health reasons. It's more on the mental, spiritual side. Because during that time, a lot of people's pastimes was drinking alcohol, was smoking, was doing all these things that would pull you away from God naturally. And so we're like, okay, so how do we create an environment where you feel encouraged enough to get out of your house and come and fellowship with us on any random day when our designated day is not available no more. Our designated meeting place is not available no more. Everything we've spent 2 years setting up is gone. It's up. It's just gone. And so I do think that influenced my mindset on being able to stay focused on God when it came time for me to go out to Green Bay and truly getting used to, okay, this is what isolation is. This is what solitude is. This is how you identify both. This is how you process both and how you use them to strengthen your walk and use that time as a growing time rather than I'm just stagnant.
Yeah.
And so I think that is something that I learned at that time. And this is me realizing it now. I didn't, because that's a one heck of a question. Looking back on it, I realize that now. But in that moment, I would, up until now, I would have never even thought about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because, and this is part of why I wanted to talk to you specifically, is I knew you and I were going to be able to hit some of these things up. The part of the thing that has always kind of baffled people when I've shared my testimony of stuff is, I was already out of college by the time COVID hit. I already had kids by the time COVID hit. But, and when my freshman year of college, I blew my meniscus as a catcher, which means, you can't really do anything as a catcher when you don't have a knee. But I was also on the third floor of a dorm with no elevator.
Ooh.
In the middle of Ohio in winter, and that winter we had ice storms like every other week. And so there were multiple weeks where I was just stuck up in a room. Can't get out of the dorm, can't get anything like that. And my suite mates were helping and doing stuff like that. But I also was one of the only people within the dorm that didn't live somewhat nearby and went home on the weekends. And so there were weekends where I literally was just stuck on a couch, not able to move, not able to go anywhere, even to get any food for just days on end until everybody came back. And, but during that time is where the refining process started for me, ministry speaking, calling wise. And it's one of those things that is hard to explain unless you've gone through it. And talking to people, athletes seem to deal with this more than most people. I've found is that these times of isolation end up being there's a lot more work going on internally in times of isolation than most people realize. But we also are ones that desire community more than most people as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, with that in mind, there's two other places we want to go before we end here. And this actually is a good place to start. And that is, how do we, as a church, do this better? Because we unfortunately the church is guilty of the same things I've talked about everybody else is, as far as not understanding what goes on in the mind of athletes in general, but especially not those that are playing at higher and higher levels.
Mm-hmm.
What can the church do better in terms of, we're going to start actually where we're at now, what can the local church start to do better to be able to reach college athletes in their communities, especially these communities that have colleges? They have college ministries, but the college ministries meet at times that athletes can't meet. So what can we do to better be able to serve the college athletes within our communities is where we're going to start.
Yeah. I think the one key thing is taking the initiative, because these college athletes, they're on a tight schedule and everything like that, but they're also people that understand what it means to take the initiative and understand what it means to take on that responsibility, and they respect it. So just taking that initiative to reach out to give them a place to be. When I was in college, there was a local church in the area that helped us out quite a bit in giving us meeting spaces and stuff like that. And they would reach out to us. They would come to campus. They would kind of be like a home base, a launching pad that we could use no matter the day of the week, no matter the time. You could start to get a hold of the pastors and stuff that were at that church. As I've learned from being a professional athlete now and traveling around, that happens less and less the higher the level you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so the churches in the area, fortunately for me, being here in Denver in my backyard, I can give some of these guys that. I can connect them like, hey, there's a men's group for us to go to if you're available. Oh, excuse me. Ooh. And so there's a church you can go to for Sunday worship, or, hey, maybe check out this online video or something like that. Just having the churches in the area be aware that no matter what, hey, these are still regular people that, and because of them being dedicated and having to grind and do all these things, that means they have less time to go looking for that church they want to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you just got to go out and help them look for that. You got to, hey, oh, you know what? I heard there's a new arena football team. Let me go partner up with them, give them a meal or something like that. See how I can help out. Maybe some of the guys on the team are Christians, or maybe some of the guys are just be willing to pick people's brains and getting out of your shell, because that's what God has told us to do. That's what it means to go out and make disciples, is you go out and you find people to live life with, not just trying to bring them to church, but let me go develop a relationship with you. So that way, if you do have any questions about God, do you have anything like that going on? And for me, I was fortunate enough, and like you said, a lot of people know my dad, Anthony Wilson. This is something he's really good at.
Yeah.
So I had a living example on how to step out and take that initiative. And so even right now, with the team, me being part of the team, it's just made it easier for him and for the church that they provide our pregame meal now. And so they're able to really make the guys coming from all over feel a part of the community that they've been here, because there is a reason why they're here. We may not know what it is, but God knows what it is. It may be just for one word at a time. And some of those guys that we've connected with last season, when the team was up in Loveland and I had a group of guys coming with me, the men's group, they've hopped on the online men's group on Zoom calls now. They're still connected to this community just because they're trying to learn more about God. They're still trying to grow in themselves, because athletes ultimately are growth-minded individuals.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good way to describe, I think, what I was trying to say earlier. As far as the growth-minded individuals is probably the best way to actually say it. And so moving past the college side, because the college is one that churches at least say they're trying to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Once you hit pro ball, like you said, it changes the dynamics again. So is it just the same process? Churches just need to get out there and do it, or is there something different about once we hit a pro level athlete that we need to be checking in on, looking at, working towards to better be able to serve you guys?
I think it's very similar, because being a professional athlete in itself is kind of like an isolated solitude thing, because you never know when this person could get cut from a team or traded to another
Yeah.
team or sent somewhere else. And so it's really more about trying to develop, like in college, but not really, reaching out for that personal connection. Not so much reaching out to ground them in the community, but reaching out to, hey, maybe they might need someone. And being that helping hand to them, like, oh, maybe I know there's a couple of guys that I know around different arena leagues and things like that, that there are pastors and things that are host families for some of the athletes when they come in. So that way they don't have to worry about housing at the hotel. They just go and stay at someone's house with them, and now you're part of the community. And now you're plugged right in immediately, because this person is in this community. They've lived here for 10, 15 years, and now you're just in their basement.
Yeah.
And they can help you a lot more, like with things like that, and just offering things like that, making sure to encourage them, like, here's an opportunity to go to a Bible study. Here's the opportunity to go to this. Hey, do you want to go out to eat? Do you want to go do this? Because being a professional athlete comes with a lot of, surprisingly, it comes with a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know that, but like, you're practicing, and then boom, all of a sudden there's nothing to do for 3-4 hours until someone else says, hey, we're gonna go do this, this, and this, and this. It may, at least from my perspective, in arena, we're done with our practices. We're done hitting the gym, practicing, film. We're done with that by 1 p.m. What are we going to do with the rest of the day? And from the guys that I know in the NFL, their schedule is a little bit longer, but they also get paid enough that they now live in the city that they've been selected to go to. And which means they're probably not leaving as quickly or as readily as some of the guys from the arena team who, once the season's over, they may have to go back to Florida. They may have to go back to New York or Washington, and you might not ever see them again. So taking that initiative to be personable and show them Christ's love up front and right away.
Yeah, and that's a big, even beyond just the pro football side of it. This is something that, your dad and I have had multiple conversations about this just in general, is that the church culture in the US has a hard time with actually doing what you just talked about in general, of establishing connections beyond just the, hey, would you come with me on Sunday morning?
Right.
But especially when we're dealing with guys like you, where you're looking for community, because you have a community, but it's not one that's necessarily a permanent. Cause like you said, you never know who's going to be traded, who's not. You never know where somebody's going, all this other kind of stuff. Beyond just the general, just, hey, reaching out, is there any specific, methods, ways, anything like that churches can maybe start this process, that are trying to explore? They've got a professional sports league in town, they've got a professional sports team. Is there any specific thing that you can think of that would be like, hey, this is a good place to start if you think that you guys, if you think you're going to want to actually look at this as a ministry opportunity, this is how to start?
I would reach out to the ownership of the team as a potential business partner, or like some type of partnership with the team itself, because then as guys rotate in and out, you're still partnered with the team, and the team then starts telling the guys, boom, this is what we got going on. This is who you can go talk to about this. If you're struggling with this is where you can go. And just plugging in that way. And so I think the easiest way is on a couple of teams I've been on, there's not a lot of team chaplains or anything like that in arena football. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And so that tells me a lot of the local churches in the area are not reaching out to the organization itself as a way of, hey, I want to partner with you because this is what I'm called to do. Or this is what the need that I see that needs to be filled. And I'm taking that initiative to do that. And so I think that's one area that you can always take a step up in for anyone that's in a city that has a professional team, is see if maybe they need a team chaplain, or maybe they need just a meal provided. Most teams and organizations will always take a meal provided for their players because that helps them and that helps their players.
And home cooked meals are better for the athletes anyway than anything else. Yeah, we had a discussion similar to this back in season 1, I think, when we did a live broadcast from Reach Gathering, where we were talking with Brad Winter, who at the time, the Owensboro Thoroughbreds, which was the minor league what is it, G League?
Mm-hmm.
Team there in Owensboro, started out just like that. He was talking to them like, what do you need? Ended up offering the team their gym, and then ended up going from that into being their scorekeeper and everything else, just from a simple conversation with ownership, like, hey, what can we do for you?
Right.
And it doesn't have to be something where you're committing to a lot of time. It can be something as simple as, hey, this is what we have. Is there anything we can do for you?
Mm-hmm.
And it just starts with actually being willing to actually get out and do it. So before we start shutting down, I want to give you a chance also to highlight, because I know like you said, you're a professional athlete, but you're not making a ton of money. But there is one way that people are able to help support you, and that is through this merch line that you have going on. So let's go ahead right now. Let's play. Where can people go check out all the stuff that I see everybody posting and everything all the time? What are we dealing with here?
Yeah. So for me, I reached out to a small business. They're technically like an NIL, where they give back to me after they get a certain amount of sales. And it's called Hometown Hero on Instagram. So either you can look there, or you can go follow me on Instagram, AJTW98, and the link is in my bio on there. The quality of the stuff they got is really good. Actually, funny that you bring it up.
Well, I saw. Oh, don't think I didn't notice. Don't think I didn't notice. Yeah.
Because I just happened to have it on this morning. I was just like, oh, because this is one of their oversized tees, and so it's real comfortable. It's real thick material, so it's just really well made. And I think that a percentage of all those sales comes back to help me in any way. And then, that goes back to helping with gas money, getting the practices, getting the things like that, and just, continuing down this path that God's given for me to do, and for whatever it is. Also, one other thing that I would like to shout out is my friend of mine. He does football camps all over the country, and he's
Nice.
trying to expand that network a little bit. His name is Thomas Reed, and so he's got Denver camps right now because this is where he's located. He's got a couple camps in Huntsville, Alabama coming up this summer. There's a couple camps in New York this year and Hawaii.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I don't know how he got the connections for that, but he did. And so he's looking to give out scholarships. He's got a foundation, and he's looking to teach high school kids about recruiting and things like that.
Nice.
And so I really partnered up a lot with him on that, just because, hey, it's always needed. My parents needed help getting me to good college and get recruited. And sometimes just getting your foot in the door is what matters. And so just if you want to take a look at that, it's tr3.com. And so it's camps.com. It's a nice little website. It gives you all the information and everything like that. But yeah, for me, help out, go buy a hometown hero. Or if you just want to support the Colorado Spartans, go check out the Colorado Spartans page because we're trying to win it all this year. So
yeah, from what I've seen, you guys seem to be doing pretty well at the moment. At least the highlights and everything that keeps getting posted. So yeah, go check out all that stuff. He will have here shortly a guest portal up on the website with all that information and links, including to the camps and all that. Which honestly, I'll say this also from all the different hats that I've worn over the years, whether it was as a student athlete, whether it was as a teacher, whether it was as an athletic director, as a pastor, whatever it might be. Even talking about these camp type stuff and the scholarships and helping people learn the recruiting process, everything is another area where the church can very easily plug in without much effort. I mean, just providing kids with the opportunity to learn how to do this kind of stuff will save a lot of stress on everybody involved. So that if you're looking for a way without, you don't have a sports team in your area or anything like that, that right there is another easy way to be able to help minister and all of that good stuff. So we're going to be shutting down here real quick. Reminder for everybody, go check out everything we got going on. We are part of the reason I said that it's may be a bit before we actually get our guest portal online for AJ here. We are hopefully going to have a new version of the Ministry Misfits website up and running here in the next week or two. I'm almost done with it, although I forgot how many guests we actually have had over the years. And so it's taking a lot longer to get done. But we're hopefully going to be having that up here soon. It will still be ministrymisfits.com. It'll still have all of the same stuff that we've had before, minus the fact that we may be moving the store off the website would be the one thing that may be changing. Ministrymisfits.com. Go check out that. For those of you over in OVRadio land, overwhelmingvictory.org is still up. It's still running. We still have everything up there as well. Go check all of that out. For those interested in learning more about sports ministry that have no idea what I'm talking about, csrm.org is the best place to go. Go check out all of that. Our network there, our partners all over the world doing all this good stuff. You can also learn more about it at reachgathering.org and learn about all the different sports ministries and foundational partners involved there. We can't have a Wilson on and also not mention, though, the other network, which is KFM Broadcasting. So go check that out everywhere, including they have their own Twitch channel as well now. We will be back with your dad here on Friday for Kingdom on the Road here on the Twitch channel as well as everywhere else. You can also go to kfmbroadcasting.com and learn more. We also want to make sure we always are plugging the prayer portal. So if you are in need of prayer, one place that you can go is to go to the KFM Broadcasting website, and I'm trying to find the thing, and now I can't find it, so apparently I accidentally deleted it. So kfmbroadcasting.com/prayer gets you to the prayer portal. One of the things we want to make sure we are doing within the KFM Broadcasting Network is to be able to pray for you guys and be able to minister in that way as well. So kfmbroadcasting.com/prayer brings you up to the prayer portal form. Fill it out with as much or little information as you want, and then it will be sent off to our prayer team to be prayed for, which includes myself and AJ's dad and AJ's sister as well, Tiara. We got to shout out Tiara, who is also one of our network members within the researching and writing departments. So I think that covers about everything. AJ, thanks for doing this. Thanks for jumping on and dealing with all the technical difficulties that Facebook provided us today.
Hey, no problem. No problem.
So go check out all his stuff again. He will have a portal up here soon on the Ministry Misfits website. In the meantime, if you go follow the KFM broadcasting stuff, you'll be able to find him because, like I said, you want to talk about a proud parent. If it's not a prayer video coming out of Anthony Wilson, it's a Colorado Spartans video. One of the two is what's coming up. So you'll be able to stay in touch with him in a couple of different ways that way until we get his portal up. In the meantime, those of you that are watching live, I may be jumping back on here in the next 20 minutes to test out another part of the system that Pastor TC got us hooked up with. And then I should be live at some point tomorrow doing an outdoors. And then we'll also be live again on Friday for Kingdom on the Road. So stay tuned for all that. Those of you over on OVRadio, make sure you're checking out all the stuff we got going on. Those of you here within Misfits and KFM Broadcasting, make sure you're always checking those websites as well. And we will see you all whenever I get back on.
The Ministry Misfits podcast is a production of Ministry Misfit Media in association with Overwhelming Victory. Dr. Greg Linville and Andrew Fouts are our executive producers, and Brandon Simmons is associate producer. The Ministry Misfits theme song is written and produced by J.D. Laird and Laird Creative Agency. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can email us at ministrymisfitmedia@gmail.com or by following @ministrymisfit on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also visit our website at www.ministrymisfits.com or through bio.link/ministrymisfits. If you would like to support Ministry Misfits, you can become a patron by going to patreon.com/ministrymisfits.